Yeah, I got that song, and then I got his greatest hits album, the greatest hits album of Pearl Jam. He's a very good voice, very good songs, very melancholy songs most of the time, but because that's kind of what his voice is, melancholy.
All right, and it says we're live.
Hello.
Why is there no video?
YouTube exclusive.
Holy crap! There we are. So now we need to send a link
to the followers. Yes.
I just need to find where is the link.
It's fine. How's it going, audience? There's nobody in the audience right now, but
no,
hello.
Nobody at all. But
somebody will watch this at some point, and we'll get to this technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But consider this YouTube exclusive.
Where is this streaming though?
What stream server do you normally use?
It actually goes through our friends over at. Hold on, here we go. It goes through our friends over at. Damn it. I'm trying to do 5 things at once.
Perfectly fine.
Crap! Now I can't bring the name to mind. Oh my gosh! Damn it! That sucks because they helped set up our server and now I can't think of the name of the freaking.
Eventually, it's
right.
fine.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tweet this out here real quick. Nobody's watching yet.
If you have any. For those who are watching, I highly recommend checking out Cool Patrol by Ninja Sex Party. It's their most recent music video, and it's good. It's got Jacksepticeye in it from YouTube. So. Yeah.
Okay, so if we're live, and if we're not, we're actually recording. So.
Either way.
It says one person watching now. I don't know if that's me or if that's somebody else watching.
Hello, one person.
Anyway, welcome to Frags of Beer Radio News, the Tuesday night show where we get together and talk about the past week in geek. We had a little trouble getting our servers set up initially, running through the site, so we had to move our live stream to YouTube, and that just took us a couple of minutes to actually get that sorted out. It's much easier than I expected it to be. So, I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Russell Michaels. Welcome, Russell.
Hello.
And it's going to be a pretty light show. Not a whole lot happened this week. We're going to hit some real quick gaming news, I think, some upcoming stuff that's coming, some cool sciencey news, some movie stuff that we've been talking about. But we did take a couple weeks off. I had some not so technical issues on the home front, which are now fixed. So everything.
Nothing happened the week before that. So.
And yeah, nothing happened the week before that. So. So anyway,
Pokemon.
Yeah, hitting some of the quick stuff that has been announced this week and has come out in the news. Of course, Final Fantasy 15. Everybody is playing the shit out of that game.
The SJWs hate the woman.
I know. Oh my gosh. Does anybody know any women who dress like that? I know women who dress like that.
You understand that character is going to be the cosplay character of choice for the next year.
Oh, good lord! Yeah, at least if not longer. Yeah.
Very surprised if Jessica Nigri hasn't already been her.
Right. Yeah. It's coming. Lots of it. I already know a few cosplayers that'll be all over that. Other big news: they have announced Last of Us Part 2. We don't have a whole lot of info yet.
Ellie is older, that's what we know.
Yep, it's going to be set a few years down the road. Looks like Joel might die or be dead. Don't know yet.
I thought the spore creatures, after time, they just, fuse to the earth.
I think so. I didn't play through enough of the game to know how that worked.
Because there's a Penny Arcade comic about it. It's eventually they just fuse to the earth and become essentially mushrooms.
But I think more of them get created.
Or we got a Resident Evil scenario where they've spliced it because evil.
Right. So now this bear in mind with the stream. This is new for us, so I'm trying to get everything. Set here right now. It looks like there's going to be a slight delay in the stream. But that's okay. More news. If you guys were interested in Ghost Recon Wildlands, the beta registration is now open. So you guys can get in there and play the beta, try out the new Ghost Recon game. From what I understand, it's going to be more like a 4 or 6 player co-op as opposed to.
So like Left 4 Dead?
I think so, yeah, or sort of like Rainbow Six Siege, but a different theme.
Honestly, very surprised there aren't more games like Left 4 Dead, considering how fun that game is.
There are more coming, I think, because I mean, like for instance, Rainbow Six Siege was 5-on-5 multiplayer, so it was a lot smaller groups.
Yeah, but Left 4 Dead's been out for almost a decade. You'd think another video game company would make a game similar to it, 4-player co-op going forward towards an area. That's such a unique fighting. I'm surprised that game industry, which is not known for its originality in a lot of times,
right,
hadn't done that concept of death yet.
Yeah.
Of course, it was Valve that did it, so maybe that's why.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Let's see other stuff we've got coming up.
The Yogscast Jingle Jam is happening right now. Yogscast Jingle Jam, thing the Yogscast does on Twitch. They stream for 31 days straight. I think, they take breaks, but they're streaming 31 days straight. It's all to benefit charity for about $30 or more. You get 50 games. They're releasing a new game one new game at least every day for the 31 days of December. Yeah. And it's benefiting a whole host of charities. And because Humble Bundle works that way, you can actually submit it to a different charity if you want. Completely up to your choice. I personally would pick something. I personally just let it go to that. But if I were, they have a bunch of charities. You can give to Wounded Warriors, a bunch of other ones. But 50 games,
nice, for
$30. That's a hell of a deal.
Yeah, very cool.
Psychonauts has been announced. Goat Simulator and a few others.
So. Yeah, I had some fun streaming Goat Simulator a few weeks back. So lots of that coming out. There was one more. Marvel vs. Capcom was announced too, I believe, this week. Yes. So still up in the air about who we're going to see, what characters, if we're going to see any new characters.
What MCU characters is going to be part of Disney's marketing department for this game?
Right, yeah. That's going to be heavy. And I'm sure it's going to be... I mean, I'm certain we're going to see Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot, obviously, X-23 probably. Though that all depends on how Disney and Fox get along. Fox get along because
Deadpool's not in the game. We'll know why.
Right, and Wolverine and X-23, because that's the next big movie from Fox is going to be the Wolverine movie, and
which actually looks good.
It does.
The other two ones weren't that good.
It does look good, and so depending on how Disney and Fox are getting along, we may or may not see Wolverine or X-23 in Marvel vs. Capcom. That would be a good question about how they're going to play that out.
On the subject of Marvel, did you see the second teaser trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
I did, yes. The new Guardians trailer. I'm looking forward to.
Baby Groot is cute.
Yeah.
Baby Groot is very cute.
Very. Yeah. They're gonna sell a lot of tickets with that one.
Yeah, well, there's gonna make a lot of merchandise out of it too. I mean, they already sold a bunch of merchandise because, like, my niece was like, what, 3 when she saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I brought it over to Christmas to my sister's house, and we watched it with her, and she kept saying, "Where's the tree gone, Mommy?"
Oh, yeah.
Because she loved the trees and she loved Groot so much.
Right. Yeah, a lot
so
of people.
They made money on that.
That is a huge. That's a huge character for the Marvel universe. Because I know a lot of people. I mean, the marketing behind Groot's just insane. So
yeah.
I'm sure we'll see him in the game.
Thanos will probably be there somewhere, I'm guessing.
Probably.
Collecting the first of the Infinity Stones that he needs to collect before Infinity War.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure.
Most of them are on Earth. I mean, a huge chunk of them are on Earth.
Yeah.
So he can just stop there last. It's like,
right.
Yeah, I'll get the ones that aren't on Earth first.
Come get the rest of them. Heck yeah.
What? 2? Wait. 2 are, I think, at least 2 are currently on Earth.
Yeah.
One's in Asgard, one's on Xandar, and one is at the Collector's House.
Right. Of
the ones that have been released so far.
So yeah.
One left, I think, the Soul Stone, and that's going to be probably in Ragnarok.
Should be an interesting go of it. So that's it for our quick hit of gaming news for the last week. There is some cool science news out there. I like to pull this stuff out because, again, we're geeks and we're nerds and we love all that cool stuff, including the sciencey stuff and even environmental science, because I'm not like one of those extreme environmental conservation type guys, but I've always been big on what am I thinking of? Logical conservation. It makes sense to recycle. Yeah, it makes sense to recycle. It makes sense to use only what we need and not waste stuff. It makes sense to do our best to take care of.
Economically, recycling actually doesn't make sense except for I think aluminum, but that's a different story for another day.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't save me any money.
There's saying that a lot of stuff that gets recycled just gets thrown out anyway.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some waste on that end of it.
Aluminum is very worthwhile to recycle.
Yeah, and glass.
Depends. Glass is relatively easy to make, and the raw materials to make it are rather abundant. Aluminum is rarer because it's a metal.
Right, but glass is, from my understanding, is the only perpetually recyclable material we have. You don't lose
you
anything.
Just crush it up and reform it.
Right, you don't lose anything in the process when you recycle paper or plastic or anything else.
To break it down and reform it, that's probably wasteful.
It's
why recycling paper is a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Recycling paper is massively wasteful, especially of water. It takes a ridiculous amount of water to recycle paper.
Yep, and you can't reuse the water for anything else because it gets full of poisons and all kinds of shit.
Well, you just have to filter it. Filtering technology has gotten significantly better. But you can't. It would be dumb to use fresh water on it, obviously.
But on a logical and economical, well, maybe not economical, I have to see, but on a logical front, there is another new, and we covered a couple of ways of getting rid of CO2 in the past, and a couple of projects that just aren't getting funding because they aren't profitable, and this is really where a lot of environmental science hits a wall, because recycling CO2 or recycling this or that or closing the carbon loop is not always profitable.
They're inefficient. That's why.
Yeah, a lot of times inefficient.
As oil, coal, and nuclear power.
But if you can't make money on it, then companies don't want to fund it.
It's capitalism.
Right. But there is a new way of transforming CO2, and they're saying it's more efficient than how plants do it. Obviously, plants and algae and other organisms use CO2; they turn it into fuel. But there is a team of German scientists discovered a way to pull CO2 out of the atmosphere. And let me find it here. Globally, they say plant life globally consumes 350 gigatons of CO2 a year. Excuse me. But, and they say this is from the Calvin's. This is done through what's called the Calvin cycle, which turns it into glucose and all that other stuff that they use. But this group has created what they call artificial leaves. And it's 11 steps to turn airborne CO2 into a chemical called glyoxylate. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Glyoxylate. And this is requires a molecule transforming enzyme, and each carefully selected from 40,000 known enzymes. But essentially, they have found a way to be 25% more energy efficient than the natural plant life on Earth in pulling CO2 out of the atmosphere and turning it into something else, something useful. But again, there's probably no profit in it. So until they figure out...
Well, if you can create energy more efficient than... If they can turn that energy into energy that can be used for other things, it will... If it's more efficient than solar cells, then it'll get funding because it's more efficient than solar.
And I think if I'm reading that right, that's what they're trying to do with this. They're trying to... Let's see, they're talking about making plastics or textiles, antibiotics. So... They're trying to figure out a way to use this process to turn the CO2 into a chemical that can then be used to make something else, which is really the only way I think any of these projects are going to get funded is because they need to turn it into another resource that can be used to create something that can then be turned into profit. Otherwise, nobody's going to pay to have them do it. You know what I mean? So that's that. And on the same front, it looks like Nikola Motor Company is actually unveiling a Class 8 truck, which for those of us who are not truck drivers or in the trucking industry, that is basically a long hauler transport truck. I think over in Europe they call them lorries. Over here we call them 18-wheelers or semis. They have developed one that has a range, and this is a hydrogen fuel-celled electric truck, which has a range of 1,200 miles and has 1,000 horsepower and 2,000 foot-pounds of torque. So basically what this is because for a while there, electric cars have had crappy range, and they really have only been sort of good to own to say that you're environmentally friendly because, I mean, I don't know about how far you drive to work, Russell, but I couldn't get to work and back in one day in an electric car.
So you live outside more than 12 miles to work.
Pretty much, yeah. One way, it's over 12 miles to get to work. So I'd have to drive to work.
Electric car and it's got a range of 25 miles.
Right. So. Yep. And I think the best one out there has a range of 40 miles, and even that would be pushing it for me. By the time I drove to work, parked, drove back home.
And have charging stations at work.
Yeah, which we don't. I park in a parking deck that has no electricity. So I mean, it's so it looks like this is actually a reasonable replacement for a combustion engine vehicle in the type of vehicle that needs it. Honestly, because trucking is probably the biggest hurdle in creating more environmentally friendly products, because no matter what you do or what you create, or no matter how environmentally friendly the product you make is, it has to be shipped. So you might make the most green product in the world, but eventually you've got to put it on a truck or a train or a boat and get it to the consumer. And right there, you're burning fossil fuels and you're putting carbon dioxide in the environment. So this is actually a really, really big breakthrough, actually making a truck that's viable, that has a range that, 1,200 miles that's not completely across the United States, but that's quite a distance for a long hauler.
Wait, it can go that far? Why isn't that the battery must be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's hydrogen fuel. So let me see, there was a number here. When I read this article, they said, if you guys want to read this article, it's on valuewalk.com. Runs on hydrogen. Where did it go? Yeah, it's several giant batteries and then several hydrogen.
That's why that's not in cars right now, because it would be really friggin' heavy.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. This may construct a network of 364 hydrogen fueling. Oh, those are the fueling stations. Hydrogen
Shouldn't they
fueling
put,
stations.
Solar cells? Wouldn't it make sense to put solar cells inside the roof of the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Why haven't people thought of doing that?
At least for short term, I don't think you can produce enough electricity to actually push.
I know,
you're talking
as an additional way to,
right.
For instance, if your truck is sitting outside, say when truckers only allowed to drive 8 hours at a time.
Right.
Stop. If
legally,
they did something like that,
they're only allowed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would only make sense. So I'm sure this is right here has been one of the biggest hurdles in replacing our trucking fleet with something more environmentally friendly is making it viable. Because all the electric trucks in the world were great and all, but if they only got you 3 hours from your starting point, completely useless when it comes to hauling. So that's our sciencey news for that. We got one more that I found here that I thought was really cool, and this will lead right into our next gaming story. But scientists are fairly certain that the alien life could thrive in the clouds of failed stars. Basically, what they're talking about is cold brown dwarfs, which are about the size of Jupiter, not quite enough energy to actually become full stars, these brown dwarfs could actually have an atmosphere, the right temperature with the right moisture content for microbes to actually live and thrive in their atmospheres, which could actually change how we study, like how we start looking for life in space. Because now we can also start looking at these brown dwarfs as opposed to just planets that live in the perfect zone around a star, which I just thought that was kind of a neat little tidbit. That leads into our follow-up of a story we've been following for a while, which actually is funny. Russell, did you see that? We're going to talk about No Man's Sky. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw the court case.
The court case got settled. But also, they said with the new update, it really didn't, like, gamers are not really, the owners of this game are not really happy with the latest update. Like, it added base building, but the base building kind of sucks, I guess. Did you see that?
Yeah, well, I don't play No Man's Sky. I was never interested, and I'm glad I didn't buy it because it looked really bad.
Yeah.
But that's just life, I guess.
Right.
You encounter this.
Oh. Yeah, I even read one quote said that No Man's Sky now plays like the $20 early access game that it always should have been. Which I think it's pretty telling, but it's kind of brutal because this game.
There's a game in early access actually that's similar to that. The Yogscast played it. I forget what it's called, but it had base building in it.
Yeah,
and it was it had giant sandworms in it.
Empyrean, is that the one? I think
so. Yeah.
I have some friends that play Empyrean, which is similar. The graphics aren't quite as pretty.
There's actual co-op.
Yeah. Yep. Actual play with other people, which is nice. But yeah, to kind of, I guess, bookend the saga of No Man's Sky's release and its bumpy release, so to speak, or its bumpy takeoff, if you want to go with that pun. The court case pretty much ended with them saying No Man's Sky didn't deceive gamers. That Hello Games didn't deceive gamers with stating that certain features were going to be in the game. They wound up not being in the game. So everybody can kind of put that to bed. That was over in the UK, and I guess gamers were pretty upset, and it was trying to be determined whether whether it was fraudulent advertising or whether they deceived gamers or whatnot. So the courts decided that they didn't, so everybody can be happy and with your game, whether you bought it or not happy with your game if you bought it and don't like it. So anything new still on the gaming front? Anything new with your Pokemon stuff?
Other than Pokemon, well, the first event has opened up for the legendary Pokemon. It's a QR code on the Pokemon website, so you can get that. It's you have to go to the Pokemon Center on the first island. You have to go to the mini mall of sorts next to the first Pokemon Center to get it. Once you activate the code. Other than that, it's really just the game's really fun, and I really enjoy it. It's one of the it's in the pantheon of the really good Pokemon games, and that's a good thing because they keep getting better. That's what Pokemon seems. The Pokemon Company manages to do. They manage to keep getting better and better at what they do. Generally, every time they create a new engine for the game, it gets it gets better.
Oh, good. So you Pokemon fans out there, you can get this code, and
because there's a QR scanner in the game,
nice.
So you can just scan it. Yeah.
Well, that's good. So yeah, I guess finally, I mean, like I said, this is going to be a quick show. Not a whole lot happened, but I did, and I was going to open it up to Russell to ask questions about it in case you did have any others that came up. But I did get the NES Classic. Actually, I have an article, sort of a little opinion piece coming out tonight on Real Women of Gaming. My initial thoughts about it, and starting it up. But I'm with some of the gamers that had a complaint about the controller it comes with. Has like a 3.5 foot, 4 foot cord, which kind of sucks. It means I had to sit really close to my TV to play it.
You actually got one?
Yeah, I did. I managed to land one. What they were doing was Walmart. I don't know if Walmart got extra stock or they had found stock or whatever, but for a week there, Walmart was running a thing. I don't know if it was 25 or 50 units a day for a week, but you had to log into Walmart.com at 5 o'clock my time, get it in your cart, click buy now, and process everything. And if you were like one of the first 50 people or whatever, you'd get one. And I managed to find out about it on the last day. I think my wife sent me a text about it. So on the last day I got home, logged in, and like was waiting. And as soon as the clock hit 5, I hit buy now and got it. Boom, 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 and managed to get one. So yeah, I got it open. It's cute. It's shoot, it's not much bigger than the original controllers, the console itself. It looks just like the 8-bit Nintendo, but it's just this tiny little thing, fits in the palm of your hand. HDMI hookups, which is nice because, you know, I have an old Retron game system to play the old 8-bit games. It hooks up through 8 RCA jacks, but I mean, most modern TVs can't handle anything old just because of the connections. So there's HDMI. The power cord has one of those, I don't know if your cell phone does this, but my old Samsung had a USB charging cord, and then it also had a socket that the USB could plug into, so I could plug it into a wall. That's the kind of power cord this thing has. So you could actually run it off of like a powered USB, like on your desktop PC. So you could actually plug it into your PC monitor and then play it right at your computer desk if you wanted to.
Cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of nice. They'll
come out with a deluxe version in a few months with a longer cord.
Probably. But if you do have one, or you get one, or you're planning on getting one, we just ordered like 10-foot extenders. You can get them on Amazon. I think they were $9.95 or something like that. And you can order extra controllers because it only comes with one controller, but it's got like, I don't know, it's got maybe 9 or 10 two-player games. So we did wind up ordering an extra controller and the 10-foot extensions so that we can sit comfortably at our couch and play.
Does it come with both Zelda games that came out?
It has Zelda. Yeah, it has Zelda 1 and 2. It has Super C, has Punch Out. All 4 of it's got the original Mario Brothers, and then it's got Super Mario 1, 2, and 3.
There's Contra?
No, it's got Super C, not Contra. It's got Mega Man 2.
Wait, how does it? Why does it have Super C? Didn't that come out? Did that come out on the Super Nintendo?
Nope. No, it was yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I know.
Any game that had Super in the front of it came out on the Super Nintendo.
That's what I thought too. Some of the game choices are a little unusual. Like it had Final Fantasy, and then it also has Star Tropics, which is a game I never played.
Oh, I heard. Game Grumps played that. I heard it was really fun.
Yeah,
I remember their playthrough.
It looks interesting. I never played it, so I played a few minutes of it. It also has both Castlevanias, which
is cool.
I really like. It's got Double Dragon. It's got Ninja Gaiden.
Simon's Quest is apparently a lot of people didn't like that one.
I actually enjoyed Simon's Quest. I liked because at the time when I first played Simon's Quest, I was more into RPGs than the action side scrollers. And it was more like an RPG.
It was the fact that the directions made no sense. The hints were really bad, just like Zelda 2.
Yeah.
I didn't like the hints, and that game was very unintuitive. It's kind of why people didn't like it.
That could be. It's been so long. I don't remember. I just remember having fun with the game. But it's got 30 games, and basically when I was looking at it and deciding whether I was going to get it or not, it boiled down to buy just a couple of the games that are on this thing, like to go buy the 8-bit cartridges. I'd spend almost $60 anyway.
Did Metroid come on it?
Yep, Metroid's on it, and that was kind of the justifying factor there, because when I bought the Nintendo Metroid recently for my Retron, that cartridge cost me $20. I know
they should do one for the Game Boy. They should do like a Game Boy Classic that's similar to it. It's like the shape of a Game Boy, but you play it on your home as a console.
Yeah,
that would be really popular, I imagine.
Yeah, probably. But can't you get Game Boy games on? I thought there was a handheld classic Game Boy.
There is,
But I could be wrong.
but what I'm saying is there's a 3DS eShop. You can get all of the NES games that are likely on the NES Classic on the eShop
Oh yeah,
for
I'm sure
Wii
you
U
can.
and Game Boy and 3DS.
Yep.
There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
No. But it's cool. I mean, it wasn't very expensive. The games look and play just like the original, except like I have a 42-inch. I think my LCD is 42 inches, so it fills up the full height of the screen and then squares it off. So that's kind of nice because my Retron is smaller. It makes the screen smaller than that. So they play nice, they sound nice. The nostalgia was pretty big. Firing that up for the first time because I haven't played some of those games in 20 years. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, anything new? What do we got coming up? Any movies coming up this weekend?
We have Rogue One the weekend after next, also
Yep.
La La Land.
Yep.
The coming weekend, Nocturnal Animals, and is getting wide release. Another big one is Manchester by the Sea. It's showing up in theaters.
Cool.
So limited release and in wide release in a few other places.
Cool.
I believe it'll be in wide release probably. If it doesn't get wide release before the end of December, it'll be early because Casey Affleck is getting massive buzz for Best Actor for it. So
cool.
It will be interesting.
Cool. I like him. I think I've seen him in a few things now, and I think he's done a pretty good job.
He's good at playing, your working class hero. That's what he does.
Yeah. Which that's good. That kind of movie.
So Mark Wahlberg, that's a niche Mark Wahlberg also has.
Working
class hero.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that about covers it. Like I said, not a whole lot happened this week. We had some technical difficulties early on, so if you're watching the recording, I cut out all of the mess at the beginning. And if you watch the live show, thanks for joining us on our new live home for tonight, at least. Hopefully we'll get those servers back up. At Super Nerdland is the folks that helped us with our servers, so I got to touch base with them and see if it's on my end or on their end where we were running into the issue. So if you joined us on YouTube live, thank you very much. I see 2 watchers. I appreciate you guys. Love you much. If you're watching the recorded show, please like, comment, and subscribe. We need to get to that 100 subscribers so that we can get your custom URL for you. And like we mentioned, like Russell mentioned, Rogue One is in 2 weeks. We will have our Rogue One special 2 weeks from tonight. So that's where we're going to break it down and talk about it. And there will be spoilers. Hopefully this week has some more news. So next week we can have a longer show for you. And anything else you wanted to talk about, Russell?
Not really. The thing is, not a lot happened in news this week that was interesting. Most of it was related to Pokemon, and it's not interesting to talk about that. I just played Pokemon a lot this last couple of weeks. So.
Yep. It's good to cover. Some people play it, some people don't. I don't play Final Fantasy 15 either.
It's probably the most popular handheld series ever.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. So yeah, thank you all for joining us tonight. You guys are wonderful. We love you, and you guys have a great rest of your week. And come back Saturday randomness I'm sure will be happening, and you guys can watch me die a shitload more on Doom. So thank you. You all have a good night.